Hi there. If you are listening to this podcast, then you are probably undercharging for your services. And today, what I'm going to teach you is a little bit of an advanced concept. If you haven't done my work on pricing, which is part of my Fast Win, my VIP 60-minute call that I do with folks that helps them instantly increase their conversion in new patient exams. Part of this call is my power framework that I help doctors shift to help more patients say yes to them, more ideal patients, I should say, not just any patients. But the P in the power framework stands for your price. So if there's any ounce of you feels kind of iffy that you're overcharging or I'm charging so much for this is a conversation for a whole different podcast episode. But if you have done this work for me, today is a more advanced level of what I want you to implement in order to increase your revenue and your impact. So here it is. You are undercharging for what you are providing. I want you to think about your top 3 treatments that you're performing most commonly on a day-to-day basis, on an average week. It could be, if it's an orthodontist, it maybe you're doing a lot of phase 1s, and then there are some teen cases, or maybe you're doing even a couple of surgeries a week, and then there's a teen case. And if you're a general dentist, maybe you're doing several cleanings and a crown, or if you're an endodontist, obviously it's the root canals. Like, think about what are the top 3 procedures that you are performing on a weekly basis, and write down or think about how much you're charging for these procedures. Have these 3 numbers in your head. And then I want you to double that number. In your mind, double that number. And I want you to ask yourself, how would your office look like if you were charging double of those fees? How would your waiting room look like? How would it smell? What would it look like? What would you offer to your patients? How would you call them? Would you call them any different? How does your front desk person greet them? What is the follow-up system? How do your assistants call patients back? How do you look? How much makeup do you wear? How well is your hair done? What quality scrubs are you wearing? What are the shoes that you're wearing? And most importantly, how do you show up in the new patient exam room? If you were to charge double of your existing fees, how would you show up in the exam room? If you answer these questions that I just asked you, if you actually pause this podcast and you write them down and you think and answer them, your conversion will 100% change. It will. What's your presence? How do you talk to patients when you're charging double? Let's do an example. Let's say you're like me, an orthodontist, and let's say your average, let's say teenager case is $6,000. What if you charged $12,000 for a standard teenager case? What does that mean about you as a provider? What does that mean about your practice? It's more boutique, it's more prestige, it's more advanced. How does that feel for the patient? How does that feel for you to be this kind of doctor? Spend time with this, and then tomorrow when you go to work, I want you to show up and treat your staff in your patients, treat your numbers, treat your admin days, treat your marketing, treat looking at your numbers as somebody who charges double, as somebody who charges $12,000 for a teen case, if you're an orthodontist, as somebody who charges $3,500 for a single unit crown, if you're a general dentist. How would you show up? How would you speak to people? How would you hold yourself? What would you think about yourself? What would you think about your treatment? Now go there in the world, doc, and treat your patients this way. Treat your patients as if they're paying you double. You will be amazed at what happens. Your conversion is going to skyrocket. Your patients are going to become amazing. You will start attracting patients that follow through, that are activated. And if you don't know what I mean, listen to my previous episode about the 2 types of knowledge that we share with people. We are educated as doctors to educate. Like we're told to educate, to share as much as possible. Just tell. This is what you need. This is what's happening. You have a crust bite here. You have a lesion here. You need a root canal. You need a biopsy. It's like a word vomit. We're just saying too much with not enough presence in the exam room. We're overpowering the conversation, or we're just too quick because we're in such a hurry. We're like, this is what you need. Let's go. Both of these are not going to render a yes from a patient and the best quality patients, your dream patients that you want. What you need to be doing is 2 types of specific approach. Yes, educational is important, but people don't buy, or people don't like to buy what they need. They will have a lot of objections. That's where you're going to hear, oh, it's too expensive. How much is your crown? I can't afford this down payment. We're renovating our kitchen. Really? Because if you're renovating your kitchen, you wouldn't have scheduled a new patient exam. Like, treatment is going to cost, and it's going to cost thousands of dollars. Everybody knows this. It's not a surprise. They don't live in a vacuum under the rock, your patients. So if you're getting a price objection, it's because you haven't done enough of that second type of conversation, which is activational. You haven't activated your patients enough. You just educated them and you tell them they need it, and they're like, ugh. It's like going to a car mechanic there and to change your oil, and they say, well, actually, you also need your tires changed, and your engine is on its last leg, and also your brakes are 4 millimeters thin. You're like, what the hell does that even mean? At what point am I going to get into a car accident? You're like, oh my God, now they're going to upsell me on all these things. We don't want to buy things we need. Think of toilet paper. We need toilet paper. How excited are you to buy toilet paper? Not very. How excited are you to book your favorite restaurant? Do you need to go to your favorite restaurant for a meal? No, you don't. You can just make a protein shake and have some fiber pills. That's it, complete meal. But no, you go there for experience. You go there for taste. We want to buy things we want. We want to buy things we desire. And in order to do that, you have to activate the patient. Listen to my previous episode. You have to tap into what they truly want. Why are they here? So much more beyond their teeth. And it's easier for you to do it if you are looking at your practice and at your work as if you are charging double. I'm giving you a fast pass to that space. Because a lot of the time, folks that I coach say, but I don't know, I'm humble and I'm friendly and I'm nice. And these are the kind of people that I want to have more visibility and helping more patients, because you are the kind of doc who will not overtreat and who will, like me, sit and review charts the night before. You know everything about the patient that you've never seen if you're an associate. You're going to break yourself in pieces to deliver the absolute amazing quality of care, and your patient is number one. You will never cancel them last minute unless you're bleeding. I see you. This is the kind of doctor I am. But more patients need to know about you. And in order to do that, you have to act like someone who doesn't downplay her value. A shortcut for you to do this is to truly embody what it would be like, what it would feel like, how would you speak, how would you look, how would you behave if you charged double for your top 3 procedures. If you do this work, my friend, results are going to be insane. If you want more of this goodness, I teach all of this in my intensive, the Fast Win, and in my VIP call, 60-minute call, when we're going to dive in and I'm going to customize exactly what's going on in your exam room from the standpoint of power. My power method is that your prices, is your ownership is off, is the words you're saying, is your energy off, or is it the relay of information from you to a treatment coordinator? One of these 5 things, if they're misaligned, the sale is not going to happen. The new patient is not going to say yes. So if you want a custom deep dive into this, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes below. Otherwise, I'm going to show up tomorrow as somebody who charges double. I'll see you next week. Bye.